Hi. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Catherine Maloney, Director of Business Development for the Dutchess County Economic Development Corporation, and we are pleased to present this spring webinar series, Building Successful Businesses, which will cover important aspects of building a successful business. As you know, events like this can't take place without the support of generous sponsors. The sponsors for this series are New York Business Development Corporation. NYBDC complements conventional banking, working in partnership with banks to provide term loans. Their goal is to be more creative in their underwriting, in many cases including multiple participations, SBA guarantees, flexible amortization, and long-term payouts. Mid-Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union. MHV is a not-for-profit, member-owned financial cooperative offering a full array of financial services to meet the needs of their members. MHV is a strong advocate of the credit union philosophy of people helping people.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Since 1995, Strategy Leaders has employed a team-based, systematic process dedicated to helping you get the support you need when you need it. Their system is designed to aid companies at the owner level as well as in the field and back office. BBG&G Advertising and Public Relations. It's the work we do before we do the work that distinguishes BBG&G Advertising. It's their ability to identify your strengths and make them really work for you through marketing materials that speak to your customers. Perception is reality in the way you present your product or services to your audiences. HVBiz. Since January 2007, HVBiz has covered business news in Rockland, Dutchess, Putnam, Orange, and Ulster County. From the very start, HVBiz has been met with enormous praise for its inviting presentation and coverage of Hudson Valley's exciting business growth. It's a publication with a mission to bring its readers, the local and county and state officials, a comprehensive view of the region's economic vitality on a weekly basis. Debbie Giaquindo Emerging Media, Marketing, and PR helps small businesses integrate social media with traditional marketing to gain exposure and create new business. In one way or another, all of these sponsors have been instrumental in bringing you this webinar series, and we thank them for their support. I would now like to introduce Andi Gray of Strategy Leaders for today's webinar.
Thank you very much, Kathy. And I'd like to welcome everyone to our series of webinars, starting with today. And you see up on the screen here that we have 4 webinars scheduled each Thursday this month from 10:30 to 12 noon. Today's topic is developing goals and integrating into marketing and sales. Next Thursday will be social media with Josh Sumner. The week after that will be workforce development, understanding trends and needs with Frank Surtee. And the final webinar is succession planning with Larry Hofelder. And we're looking forward to what each of these presenters has to share with us on their topics, and hope that you'll be able to register for these events. You can go to thinkdutchess.com, which is the email address you see down towards the bottom of the screen, and register there for as many of these events as you can fit into your calendar. In addition to that, we have a live wrap-up event on June 9th, Managing in a Changing Environment. I will be hosting that event as well. It'll be a chance for people to meet all of the presenters in person. It'll be at Santo Stefano's Winemaking Club from 4 to 6 p.m. on the 9th. And again, you can register for that event at thinkdutchess.com. All of our webinars are free. There will be a nominal charge for the June 9th event, and we hope you can make that as well. Before we get started, we have a couple of housekeeping things to take you through. If you refer to your invitation email for audio instructions, if you're having any difficulties there, you can, as we go through the webinar, use the chat or question box to pose questions. Please be aware there is an option to raise your hand on the webinar in order to verbally pose a question, and we will not be using that option. So if you do have a question, please send it in writing, and Kathy will be the moderator for handling the questions. Be happy to interrupt the webinar as we go along to answer any questions that we get. At the end of the webinar, we'll also take a look at any questions we haven't gotten to, and as time permits, we'll try and get to as many as we can. We will have a few polling questions during the webinar to gather feedback from our audience, and if as we go through the polls, you'll be asked to pick an answer that best fits where you are or who you are, and then we'll show you the results and how everybody has responded. Finally, the webinar will be posted on thinkdutchess.com, so if you want to circle back and listen to a copy or see a copy of the webinar, that will be available later on. All right, so let's get started with today's topic, which is developing goals into an overall sales and marketing plan. I'm the presenter for today. I am the author of Ask Andi, which is a business advice column for business owners. It appears weekly in HVBiz, Westchester County Business Journal, and Fairfield County Business Journal. And I am also president of Strategy Leaders, a business consulting firm. If you'd like more information on what we do, you can go to askandi.com, which is an article of all of, or an archive of all of the articles we've written since 2004. And if you'd like information on our business consulting website, that's strategyleaders.com. So before we get started with the presentation, we're going to start with our first survey question, which Kathy will bring up here on the screen. And we're going to ask you to click one of the categories that best describes you. And we'll give you a minute to click your answer, and then we'll come back and show you what your results look like as a group. The categories are business owner, employee, business advisor, budding entrepreneur, and other. And if you can each weigh in as to what best fits you, that would be terrific. Now give us a little bit of an idea of who we have here in our audience today. So Kathy, whenever you have the results, go ahead and click them over. One of the things that we will be doing throughout this event is a series of polling questions. And again, we hope that this gives you a little bit better insight into the audience as a whole, and also helps you shape this presentation as we go forward. So a third of our audience is business owners, 7% employees, a third business advisors, and 21% consider themselves budding entrepreneurs. That's great. All right, let's get going. Kathy, you want to take us back to the presentation? So the objectives of today's presentation are to help you better understand the role of goals and to focus in on marketing and sales, both the mistakes and the opportunities in goal setting in those areas, and to help you with some actions to go forward so that you can line up success goals for 2011. Let's start with the major mistakes that business owners make when goal setting. They are often very unclear about their goals. They fail to address every area of the business. The goals are not measurable or time-specific. We call these gerbil wheels. So if you've ever watched a gerbil run on a wheel in a cage, they just run and run and run but never get anywhere. And that's very often the trap that people will get into when setting goals, because they're unclear exactly where they are going and how they would measure it and know if they got there. There's not enough emphasis on reserve building or making sure that there are dollars saved within the business. They don't play what if with the goals at the start. So what if these goals come to pass? What does that mean to the business overall, and is that what I really want? The goals are not tied together enough top to bottom in the organization. So from where I want to be at the very top of the organization to how that impacts me in terms of the number of employees I might have, or the number of vendors